Hi, I'm Srinivas Rao. Welcome to my channel. Today we will be discussing about what is SQL and PLSQL. We all know the s- database and database management, structured query language is very important in IT industry. If you take a software field, uh, database uses is mandatory for an application development. Whenever we are going to develop any application, data management is very important. We need to persist the data in data storage, uh, either in a relational database or non-relational database, or whatever the file system it is. Data storage is very important. So when we are talking about SQL and PLSQL, okay, SQL and PLSQL. So SQL is the structured query language. We use this language for accessing and manipulating databases. I hope everybody aware of the databases and they use these SQL statements for fetching data, for inserting data, for creating tables, for updating the data. And we all know that. But in this video, I want to explain in detail concepts of what is SQL and PLSQL as well. I just want to explain the usage of SQL and PLSQL in industry point of view. So I have around 11 years of experience in IT industry. So uh, I can give you the insight of where exactly we use this SQL and PLSQL concepts. So, this is a structured query language. What is the structured query language? So we have multiple tables in the database. So I want to retrieve the data. Okay, so I can use SQL language and uh, I can actually query that information. You see, I have retrieved the data from customer table here. So I retrieved the first name and age from the customer table. So if I want to retrieve the data from order table, I can also retrieve the data. So there is orders table, and orders table will have order ID and item. Okay. So let me remove this one. So see order ID and order table. So we use the databases to store the data in the form of tables, relational tables. So relational table means every table will have rows and columns. Each column is represented by column name, and you can store the data in the respective scenario. Here you can see the customer ID, first name, last name, age. These are the column names, attribute names, and their respective data is. If you take the first record, customer ID is one, first name is John, last name is Doe. So you can see the data will be stored like that. So basically we are using the SQL here for retrieving the data. Okay, the data was stored in the database. I want to retrieve the data using a SQL, using a some query language. That query language is called SQL, structured query language. So that is the reason for implementing this programming language at a database side. We have many programming languages at front end side, in the middleware, at back end side. So at back end side, SQL is one of the programming language to retrieve and manipulate the data. So that's why we use the SQL. But we cannot call SQL directly as a programming language because it is a structured query language. We can execute a single query at a time, right? uh, See, if I want to get a data, I can execute this query, I can retrieve it. Okay, if I want to data from other table, shippings table, I have to remove this and I have to execute. So structure query language basically useful for interactive querying purpose. So there is a developer, and customer or client wants to see some information that was stored in a DB, then we can write this query language and we can get the data. So dynamically, I can get a data whenever and wherever it is needed using SQL query language. It is a structured query language and it is useful for uh, interactive, um, interactively fetching the data. Okay. Uh, why I'm telling you this is not a program, because in general we write the program, we save that programs. Okay. And we will execute those programs whenever we want to use them. But SQL, we cannot use this SQL as a programming language. It's just a command. We are giving a command in the form of query to a database to retrieve the data. So that's how this SQL programming will be used. But how about if I want to write a program using SQL query language? I want to write a program because I want to include multiple statements, multiple SQL statements. I want to use if else conditions. Okay, I want to use loops. I want to use this structure query language as a program. Can I do it here using SQL editor? No, I cannot do it. So for that purpose only, we have a PLSQL. PLSQL. Okay. So PLSQL is a procedure language extension to structure query language. Okay. Extension to structure query language that combines SQL statements and procedural constructs.